You are welcome to my channel. Today we'll be solving a question on construction of ellipse. Construction of ellipse using concentric circle method. We have to construct an ellipse whose major axis is equal to 120 and minor axis is equal to 80. How do we construct this? This is very easy. The major and minor axis represent the diameter of two circles. So in concentric circle method, so you measure, if the diameter is 120, then the radius will be 60. Let's pick this point and put our ellipse there. So you measure 60 on our compass. 60 will be here. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Yeah, that is it. So we use this point that we have chosen. So let's move it down a little so that it doesn't go into the you have to be very careful such that and you are using this. Let's confirm if it has not shifted. Okay, it is still there. So we draw our circle of radius 60. That's our major axis. Then the minor axis is 80. So the radius of the circle which will be used will be 40. 10, 20, 30, 40. Yes, that's 40. We draw the circle. You have to be very careful so that it doesn't shake. Yes. After you have done this, you now need to divide the circle into a number of equal parts. I usually prefer to divide into 12 equal parts, because the more your division, the smoother your curve. Draw a horizontal line and a vertical line passing through the center like that. So now you use the radius of the circle to mark arc round. Now this is the radius of the smaller circle, so that's what I will use to mark arc. If I want to use the bigger circle, I'll extend my compass to the radius of the bigger circle and I'll mark along the bigger circle. Since I'm using the smaller circle, so I'll use this point. You mark forward and backward. Go to the next point. You mark forward and backward. Go to the next one. Here. Mark it forward and backward. Then the last point. Forward and backward like that. So you are done. So you now join the lines, making sure it passes through the center. Make sure it passes through the center. So after you have done this, you will now, for the bigger circle, all these points where the radial lines are intersecting the bigger circle, from that point you drop vertical lines like this. Here you drop on this one too, vertical lines. this one you can do vertical, and at the same time do for this other one at the bottom. This one will move upward, this one too will move, this will move upward, this one will move downward. Similarly, come to this side, this will move upward, and this one too will move upward. So now all this upward line, you now intersect them with horizontal line from the intersection of the radial lines with the smaller circle. You can see it's intersecting here, 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 here. So at those points you draw horizontal line. You can see horizontal line here, horizontal line here. Go to the next one, horizontal line here, and horizontal line here. To the next one, horizontal line here from the smaller circle, from where the smaller circle is intersecting with the radial lines. That's where you draw your horizontal lines from. You can see the smaller circle is intersecting here with the radial line and it's intersecting here as well. So you draw horizontal line from those 2 points. So you can even put you put it on this one and this one to give you horizontal line, definitely like that. So this one can come down to intersect it. So now we have the point at which we will draw our ellipse. This point here, or this point, it must pass through the top of the minor axis and the bottom of the minor axis. Then this point, then it must also pass through the right end of the major axis and the left end of the major axis. So that will be the vertex of the ellipse. This point, this point, this. So you join with French curve. You join with French curve. You have to be very careful when you are joining with French curve. You can do one. It's always good to do it per quadrant. If you do it per quadrant, you realize that the same side that you use for one quadrant is what you use for the other quadrant. You can see this one I've used between here and here. So it's the same thing that will be used for the other quadrant. All you need to do, we have used this side, just turn it like this, rotate it like this to do the bottom, the same side, the same side. Yeah, it's okay like this. You roll that. Now the same side, just turn it like this to do this other side. Just turn it to do this other side. It's getting in contact with the camera. Okay, let me do this side first. Let me do this side. You can see that I'm still using the same side. You just need to turn it around. So I've done this other side. Because of the camera, if I should adjust it, it will affect the camera. It is not setting very well. So what I'll do is I'll use another one. Now it will have been easy for me to do that. So let me just use this. Let me just use this. So I'll use this and complete it. So that's the ellipse. Now we are now to draw tangent and normal. Tangent and normal to the ellipse at 25 mm above the major axis and to the left hand side of the minor axis. The left hand side of the minor axis, 25 mm above. All you need to do is get your ruler. This is the major axis. This horizontal line in the center is the major axis. So it says 25 mm above. So you stay on the center and measure 25 mm. This 10, 20, 25 is here. You mark the point. When you mark the point, you now use your T-square to transfer that point. You see? You either transfer it to the right or to the left, but the question says to the left hand side of the minor axis, so it will be here. You transfer this point to this place. So because it says to the left hand side, this line, vertical line, is the minor axis. Between here and here, that's the minor axis. So since we have located our point, the next thing to do is to locate the focal point, two focal points of the ellipse. How do you locate the focal point? You put your pin at the center, you get the radius of the major axis. That is half of the length of the major axis. You can see it like this. You now move to the top of the minor axis like this, and you mark an arc. You arc it, let it intersect with the major axis. You come to this other side, let it intersect with the major axis. So those points will be the two focal points. This will be F1 and F2. So the next thing is to join F1 to the point of tangency, which is this. You join it like this with thin line like this, and you also join F2 to the same point like that. So when you have done that, the next thing you will now do, you can see that it has formed a triangle. Then the angle at the point of tangency, you bisect it. The angle at the point of tangency, you bisect it like this. You just connect the two lines with an arc. Connect the two lines with an arc. So you can come to this first point, extend your compass out, mark an arc, go to the second point here, you mark another arc. So after you have done that, you can now connect this point to the point of tangency. This is the point of tangency. So you rule it with thick line. That is the normal. Now you have to now draw the tangent. So to draw the tangent, you bisect. You first of all describe an arc. At that point, you place your pin at that point and you describe an arc. You describe an arc like that. So that arc, you will now bisect it. You stay at this point, extend your compass out, you mark an arc here, you go to the other end. You can see this is the arc. You stay at here to mark the first arc. You go to the second point of the arc, you mark another arc. So you have that. So the next thing you do, just this point connected to the point of tangency like this. And that is your tangent. You write it, tangent. So that is the solution to the question, construction of ellipse using auxiliary or concentric circle method. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you have really enjoyed this, do like the video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much. We'll meet in the next video.